All right, everybody. I am Andrew Baydal. That is Blake Mitchmore, and that is Steven. We are live here for a quick video on the national championship predictions. We have a game tonight, a game tomorrow, and then we have the NFL slate, which will take over your Saturday and your Sunday as it should. Again, if you're unfamiliar with both of these gentlemen, I don't know where you've been, but they both pop into spaces. Blake's actually been on camera with me numerous times for different wrestling stuff. And Steven, why don't you give the Final Bell media audience kind of your introduction, because you've had an interesting career in professional wrestling.
Yeah, so started back in like 2010. Wrote for some websites, did some podcasts, helped run a couple websites, did some more podcasts, launched a mobile wrestling game, helped book some independent wrestling shows. And now I'm here with you, Andrew.
Boy, have fallen, huh? All right. Well,
it's an upgrade, man. It's an upgrade. Have you ever seen the wrestling business?
There you go. There you go. We'll take it. Steven is a big Miami Dolphins fan, and we just had some news hit the ticker, whatever you want to call it, about the Miami Dolphins and how they fired Mike McDaniel. That would signal to me, which I saw Blake's post. Me and Steven were actually on the phone talking about what went down, but I saw Blake's post and I totally agree. There is a giant connection with Mike McDaniel and one Mr. Harbaugh. And I will say that because two reasons. One, they're family friends. And I also pointed this out to Steven while on the phone. His daughter goes to USF. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect the Dolphins to fire somebody, especially Mike McDaniel, who's going to have people banging down his door to take their offensive coordinator job, maybe even a head coaching job, if you didn't have one Harbaugh in the bag. Gentlemen, I'll pass it to both of you. I mean, I think this is almost a foregone conclusion. I don't think it's a done deal, but I mean, I think it's the Giants and the Dolphins, and I think the Dolphins just pulled away with this one. Steven, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think the name to watch is Chad Alexander, right? Like if the Dolphins are actually going to make the realistic full court press, like I kind of told you yesterday on the phone, I said, until Mike McDaniel's fired, I'm operating under the belief that Harbaugh's not going to be the guy. It's going to be Mike McDaniel because they can't truly full court press. Well, today he gets fired, and now you have a bunch of dots. You have the Harbaugh-Ross connection. You potentially have the connection of his daughter going to USF. Look, South Florida is amazing. I would much rather live in South Florida than Baltimore. The final one, though, is the general manager. The general manager is going to tell you everything. And Jeff Darlington, which, by the way, there is no more well-respected or connected person in national media for the Miami Dolphins than Jeff Darlington, said the GM search will be over tomorrow. If it's Chad Alexander, I fully expect John Harbaugh to be the next head coach.
There you go. Blake, I mean, all the signs point to Harbaugh, but it's not done till it's done. But I mean, I don't think you fire McDaniel without having this in your back pocket, correct?
No, 100%. I mean, that's why I posted what I did earlier. And Steven's right. You know, all these connections, Stephen Ross, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, Chad Alexander was currently in effect working for John's brother, Jim. I know technically the front office is over the coach, but in reality, in today's NFL, it's not. They work in conjunction and work for the coach. And Chad came from Baltimore before that. So, yeah, I mean, you're correct, Drew. It's not done till it's done, but this is full on. They think they can get John. They want John, so they had to move their coach out of the way in order to try to get him.
Yeah, and I'd be sitting here saying the same thing if the New York Jets had fired Aaron Glenn. They were standing behind Aaron Glenn. Glenn's our guy, this, that, and everything else like that. And then all of a sudden it's just not. If that's the case, then, and Aaron Glenn was fired this morning, then I would say, oh boy, I think those Harbaugh conversations went real well, or they're going to go real well, because it looks like once you make this move, you're either 1A or 1B for Harbaugh. And I have a funny feeling that they're probably 1A. That would be my guess. I mean,
I would agree. And if you read Stephen Ross's statement, he mentions that he felt there was a need for comprehensive change. Yeah. And if you're going to make comprehensive change, that does not signal going and getting a coordinator with no head coaching experience or anything like that. you're going to get a guy who's going to come in and turn your building around completely from the studs up.
And I said to Steven and I said to you, I think John and the Jets would make a lot of sense if John wanted the job. I think it would be his as well, just because a lot of draft capital, a lot of capital in general in terms of money to spend in free agents. But John's got to want the job. And I think John probably more than, I would say 75% now is probably wanting that Miami Dolphins job, because you just don't make this move. You don't.
Well, I mean, let's be real. We're talking about John Harbaugh here. So with the openings, that whatever job he wants is his.
Yeah. I can tell you where John won't be, because I just looked at my mug, because I never know which one I'm having. It's St. Louis, because there's no team there. Let's talk about the college football playoffs here. And we're down to 4. I was talking with Steven about this earlier, and then it kind of just sparked. We were like, let's do this. Should we do this on air? Talk to the producers, and they were like, go for it. So Miami and Ole Miss. Miami surprised me against Ohio State. Now, Miami's got a fantastic defense. Their quarterback, although left Georgia, came to Miami, is a quote-unquote proven winner. There was a lot of stuff surrounding him that he can't get the job done when the game is on the line. He's a punk, this and that. And he goes and leaves, and here he is again in a semifinal fighting for another national championship. I have a hard time picking against Miami right now, and if they win, they would host the national championship in their stadium. All right? So for me, I think there's a lot on the line with Miami. I know Ole Miss is a good squad. Obviously, if you're here, you're a good squad. But this game screams Miami to me. Their defense is too good. I think Beck's going to put them in positions to win. So I don't see them being a team that Ole Miss is going to be able to just steamroll. Now, I know 13-1 and 12-2. I don't know. I like Miami tonight. Steven, what do you say?
I completely disagree with you, man. I think the football gods are behind Ole Miss. I think they're doing the thing. I think that if it's wrestling terms, we're booking the underdog here, baby. We're booking for surprise. Look, Miami's got a good squad, very good squad. However, I think Carson Beck has a tendency to try to over-deliver at times. I think Ole Miss will pounce on that. I think this is a team that is playing with more than just house money. I think they're out to prove to Lane Kiffin, to the college football world, that LSU isn't a better job than Ole Miss. This is a top-tier SEC job, and to kind of shove it in his face a little bit, I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I think it's going to be one of those close games. Look, they just beat Georgia. Right. They just beat Georgia in the playoffs.
Yeah. The refs tried to hand Georgia that extra opportunity after 1 second left, 1 second. And I understand it's the rules, but I mean, like, give me a break. So,
I got Ole Miss by a field goal.
Well, I mean, that's the spread. And I was just going to say that Miami is a 3-point favorite. 10 versus 6. Miami's shown that they could hang with everybody. Everyone thought that Miami would be out in the first round. I thought their defense was too good. I didn't think they'd get through Ohio State, and they did. And I was just like, all right, I just think this team's going to the national championship. Blake, Ole Miss, Ohio, Ole Miss, Miami, what do you got?
I'm honestly torn on this game. When I came back in, I heard Steven, and I tend to agree. Ole Miss kind of seems like, and you see this in all sports, you see it, across the board. There's the team of destiny that just seems like it doesn't matter what's going to happen. They're just going to find a way to win. And it kind of feels like Ole Miss is that. I heard Steven mention the Lane Kiffin thing. I think that's part of it. I think they have you hear it in their coach, and I think their players have that attitude that kind of like, you know what, fuck this guy. We're going to show that it ain't just him.
Yeah.
I think that was the extra boost they needed, Blake, truthfully.
I agree. But where I'm torn is, man, I just don't think this I'll just flat out say it. This Miami offense sucks. But their defense has gone into each game and physically manhandled both teams. And in the case of Ohio State, that was really impressive. It was impressive with A&M because A&M was really good all year, but people don't manhandle Ohio State, not named Michigan, in the last few years. and they physically dismantled Ohio State. So,
But Blake, if they stick to their game plan, Miami's offensive game plan, I mean, I believe Fletcher was averaging 7 yards a carry. That's tough to beat, right?
well, because so they manhandle you on both sides of the line. So, I mean, if I had to make a pick on this game, I'm probably picking Ole Miss, but would not be shocked in the least, or so even I wouldn't even say shocked. I would not be surprised if Miami wins this game because they have physically beat both teams up they've played so far.
I think the next game we're going to talk about, because we really want to dive into the NFL side of things here. That's what really got my whole day sparked here in terms of like wanting to do this and agreeing to do it. The next game, Indiana and Oregon. I mean, listen, I like Oregon. Dante Moore, I like everything they have, but I just think Indiana is just too good. They're just too good right now. Yeah, I know the spread's 3.5, but I think this is the game that you could see 10-7 is the point differential easily. And could be even more. I mean, Oregon's defense showed up. Dante Moore last week was okay, but I mean, Indiana is just very, very good on all facets of the game. I don't know how Indiana loses here. I know any given Saturday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, but I don't know. I think Indiana by a touchdown or more. Blake?
I would agree. This, I said I'm very torn, and I honestly don't have a confident pick in the previous game. I think Indiana wins this game hands down. I think they're the better team. They beat Oregon once, and they beat them, not handily like in a score wise, but they didn't have a problem beating them in Eugene in October. And what Oregon did last week, not necessarily beating that Bama team, because I don't know that Bama team was that strong, but Oregon was the first team in this iteration of the college football playoff, or not Oregon, Indiana was the first team to take that long layoff and then come back firing on all cylinders, which shows you how well coached they are. So, typically I would lean to the trope of, man, it's really hard to beat a team twice.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's Blake. The case with this Indiana team. I think they're going to beat Oregon again.
Isn't Indiana the only team that had the layoff that is still remaining right now?
Yes.
There's out of 8 quarterfinal games.
Right.
They are the only team that has endured that layoff and won their game.
Which to me would signal that
top
like
seeds are 1-7.
Yeah, they're very well coached, which we all know. I mean, the head coach just told you to Google him in his press conference when he first came here to Indiana. Mendoza's very good. There's no doubt about it. And I would love to have him on the New York Jets. I'm sure he won't be there when the Jets pick, unless things get crazy. He's probably a Las Vegas Raider. You're probably 100% right. And everybody who's predicting that as well. But I said this about the Jets team in general and any NFL team and any college team. I don't care who you have. College, you can get away with some things, feels a little bit smaller, not in terms of like the 100 yards. It's smaller between the hashes. And for me, head coaching is everything in the NFL, and it is everything in college. Like I said, I'd maybe give you a little bit on the players in college because it's in my opinion, a slower game than the NFL. The NFL just closes in on you very quickly. That leap is just crazy. So head coaching is everything.
Hey, you're 100% correct. Because if you look at this Indiana roster, even Mendoza was not a high recruit.
No,
a lot of their team is guys from James Madison and smaller schools that Cignetti brought with him. This is a team of guys. I'm not saying they're bad, but this is a team of guys that are well coached and have bought into what Cignetti's culture is more than anything. This is not a team of 5 stars like Oregon or Miami or even
Ole Miss has a couple.
Ole Miss has more than Indiana does for sure. This is a team that has bought into their coach's way, and it shows you what that difference is.
I don't know if it was the Indiana players who said this, Blake and Steven. You'd have to correct me, or maybe it was just something I said. I don't think it was, but I heard it somewhere, and they're a team of misfits. Nobody wanted them, and they are here winning.
Yeah, so I will say that
yes.
If we wanted to paint the picture, of Oregon beating Indiana, because I think all three of us have Indiana winning this game. I think they have the best coach and quarterback in football this year. And generally in college football, if you have the best coach and quarterback, you will win the whole thing. However, if I wanted to paint that picture, Dan Lanning is not a bad coach.
No, he's a great coach.
All. He's a great coach, right? And you got a quarterback in Dante Moore, who has heard for the last 4 months, the number one pick in this draft is going to be Mendoza. The number one pick in this draft is going to be Mendoza. The number one pick in this draft is going to be Mendoza. You know how you can change that narrative a little bit?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Head to head, winner goes to the championship. I beat you. You know what? Would it surprise me? Not really. Nothing really surprises me in college football anymore. However, there is a way Dante Moore could lead this team, go to the national championship, win the national championship, and then for the next 3 months, you know what we're talking about? Yeah. Dante Moore might be the number one pick in the draft.
100%. You want to make yourself the number one draft pick tomorrow night. You have the opportunity to light the world on fire and beat Mendoza, have a 4 to 5 touchdown passing game, which I don't think is going to happen. I'm just saying if it does, that would put Dante Moore, there would be a lot more question marks than they are right now. Blake, me and you have discussed this at length on the phone before. Dan Lanning, is there any way that if Oregon happens to win, goes to the national championship, wins, Mendoza has a great Moore has 2 great games. Mendoza's out of the top 1 right now. He's done. Top 2 probably, but he's out of that top spot. Can Dan Lanning be your next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders to go with Dante Moore?
I don't see it. I don't. The way he talks is he has no desire to leave Eugene. The way he talks is ever. Now we all know that can change with time. Sure. But at the age he is and just his makeup, he's a college guy. He's not an NFL guy to me.
And he's been there since 22. How long is his deal? Do you guys have any idea?
Oh, I mean, probably 8 or 10 years because he's gotten at least 2. He's gotten at least 2 new ones since he's been there because every year there's a big opening, they come after him.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to say, you guys were talking about Dante Moore in terms of Oregon winning. If we want to make the case for Oregon potentially winning the game, I'm not going to say Dante Moore has nothing to do with it because he's the quarterback, but that's not the key component. The key component is Oregon's defense. Oregon's defense caught a ration of shit after the JMU game because they gave up 35 points to a mid-major. And then they came in and I don't know how good Texas Tech's offense truly is and compared to some of these teams that are left in the dance or even the teams that were in the dance, but they dominated a really solid Texas Tech team. If that Oregon defense plays with the same attitude they did in the Texas Tech game, that's their path to beating Indiana.
I think I agree with you. I think that Oregon defense is the difference maker on this team. There's no doubt about it. I'm just saying if Dante Moore if Dante Moore has 2 really good games, I'm putting him in the national championship and the Oregon Ducks, I think he would leapfrog Mendoza. I think that's what we're saying. If Moore has a 3 to 4 touchdown game today or tomorrow, controls the game and beats Mendoza, then goes to the national championship, rushes for a touchdown, throws for 3. Do you think he leapfrogs? I think he does.
I don't, because Tom Brady's in control of the number 1 pick, and Fernando Mendoza is far more Tom Brady style than Dante Moore is.
Yeah.
I think
if somebody else was in control of number 1, I could see your scenario playing out.
The Jets?
With Vegas and Tom Brady, from what you hear, Tom Brady's not came out and said this, but from what you hear, Tom Brady is in effect calling a lot of the shots. I just see Fernando Mendoza as his guy.
Steven, give me 1 second. You know what's interesting though, and I want to put this back into this. Brady was very high on Shedeur. Shedeur trained with Tom, all this other stuff, and Shedeur was there, and Brady passed. I mean, they could have taken a flyer on him in the 4th round. They didn't. So I hear you. I think if Dante Moore lights the world on fire these next 2 weeks, I think there's a good chance. Steven, go ahead.
So no, I was just going to ask you guys, if you're trying to book a show here, you're trying to book a national championship.
Everything is
what matchup brings you the most eyeballs?
Well, let me say this because I'm in this industry, not the television industry. Ticketing wise, okay. If Indy and Miami gets in, I think it'll be the largest national championship game ever in terms of ticket wise, prices wise. It'll be nuts. Miami will have a home game. Indy's never been there. Forget it. It'll be nuts.
More than Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon's been there before. You got to understand
that's
something.
the game
Miami
I would say too is Indy
Miami hosting the
Miami.
game is nuts if they get there. And then if you get a team that's never been there in Indiana, oh my God, forget it. Who doesn't want to leave
And not just
Indiana?
that. I mean,
and go to
Miami is an institution in college football.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were good in the 80s. They were good in the early 2000s. Like there are so many famous alums in the
Mhm.
NFL that do that. I mean, and then
When's the last time they played a
if you go
meaningful
back
game? Truthfully.
20 years.
Right. You know?
And then, if you go look at, I think Drew's correct on Indiana more than Oregon, because if you look at the TV ratings to the Rose Bowl, it dictates that Indiana's a story right now.
You know what? From the story perspective, I get it. I don't know, man. There's the West Coast thing in me
Sure.
that says if you can draw that West Coast California.
Are you booking
channel
the boyhood dream, or are you booking like pretty
well,
money?
that's it. Maybe those Midwesterners. It's miserable.
But I don't know that Oregon draws that because they're so far up north on the West Coast.
Look, it's very possible you guys are right. I do think the worst possibility is what Ole Miss. I would have Ole Miss, Indiana as the worst possible
I still think the
viewer.
Ole Miss,
I think Ole
the
Miss,
Ole Miss
Oregon is
fans
the
will
worst combo.
travel. Yeah, I think the Ole Miss fans will travel. Again, us in the ticketing industry and the marketing side of this whole thing, we're hoping for Miami and Indy. If Miami and Oregon
Listen, at
get
the
in,
end of the day, from a ticketing or like from a ticketing perspective, it don't matter who's in it; it's going to sell out.
Sure.
I think the only metric that you're going to see a major difference is the audience, the television audience based on
if it's
who's in
Ole
the
Miss
game.
and Oregon, I think it's not a dog, but it's not what it could have been in terms of
Exactly.
Miami.
I agree.
Miami gets in, forget it. I don't think it really matters that much on the opponent. Oregon will be decent, but I pull these two parallels, and I've said this a million times. If the Buffalo Bills happen to get into the Super Bowl, they will have a major watch party in Buffalo. Those fans, it's in California. A lot of those fans will not travel. That is a blue-collar fan base. That's not to say that there won't be some who go, but this happened a couple years ago, and we hammered the AFC Championship game in Buffalo if it was going to happen, if they were going to win, because I said to all my partners, Buffalo Bills fans are not going to travel to California to go to a game. They're going to stay where they're at. They're going to smash tables. They're going to drink 10 million beers, and they're going to watch it at home, or they're going to watch it in a parking lot. No one's paying $6,000 to go watch their team in the Super Bowl. The blue collar fan base is not.
I'll say this to put a button on this from of the four options for a national championship game, which is shocking because they're so popular because of their gear and everything. I think Oregon is the least of the four because of Indiana is the story, Miami is Miami, and Ole Miss is the story to a degree right now because of Lane Kiffin. They're kind of the darling of this whole thing. So as crazy as it may sound to a lot of people, Oregon is almost right now in this sphere of this semifinal and these four teams is the outlier because they're the only team that doesn't have something going on. They're just a really good team.
If you're talking about money, I mean, Oregon's got it in buckets. So does Miami,
Still.
and so does Ole Miss. Indiana, I think there's a lot of money in the boosters, and I think there's a lot of rich alum. But, we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's switch over to the NFL. Again, I think it's Miami and Indiana, and I can't wait for that matchup if it happens in the College Football National Championship. Let's start off with the LA Rams and the Carolina Panthers. There's a couple games that I'm going to say real quick that I think are blowouts. This is one of them. I don't think Carolina stands a chance. They are 10.5-point dogs, and I think the Rams kind of skid. They skidded into the postseason. They're here now. Devontae Adams is healthy. I have a funny feeling the Rams are going to light the world on fire these next two rounds. NFC Championship game will be tough for them if they happen to get there, which I do believe they will. But I'm going to go with the Rams, and I'm going to go with the Rams by probably 14. Steven?
So you're telling me an hour up I-85 from me.
It's a waste of your time, yes.
Bank of America Stadium. They're painting the town blue and black. Lighting up every bit. No, there's no chance the Panthers do anything. Rams by whatever, a
Was
billion.
it you who said that the Panthers are going to be in the same situations the Dolphins were, where they're going to have to pay Bryce Young? Was that me and you who had that conversation?
Yeah. So what I think, if you're a Panthers fan right now, I would be highly concerned that you're going to fall into the same trap the Dolphins fell into, where Bryce has a pretty good year. You guys make the playoffs for the first time in a long time, and you get super geeked out about it, and you offer him a big extension, and that's just quarterback inflation. So it's not even like GMs are handing out what a lot of people call bad deals. That if you want to lock up a young quarterback in their second deal because of performance and not because they got cut from somewhere else, it costs a lot of money, $40+ million.
If you want to win in this league, you need a quarterback.
Correct.
So Blake, Rams, Panthers. I mean, I don't see this game being close.
The only reason the Panthers beat the Rams first time is because Matthew Stafford had his worst game of the season. And he's not going to do that twice.
I mean, if Matthew Stafford's hands fall off, then they lose this game.
I mean, he threw 3 picks, and I think at least 1 pick six in that game. So that's not going to happen twice. He's not going to do that in the playoffs. Yeah, I agree. 10 to 14 points. Hey, I got to jump. I appreciate you guys letting me on.
Always. Packers, Bears, quick.
Bears. I think the Packers are a sinking ship right now. The last couple weeks of the season.
Jennifer said you're not allowed at the house anymore. All right, buddy. See ya.
Oh, well, all right. See ya.
Steven, I would have liked to have seen the Bucks against the Rams. We'll go back to that game real quick, because I think that would have been a way better matchup. I think the NFL was praying for that as well, and it just didn't happen. I don't know. The Rams, I just can't see it. Let's talk about the Packers and the Bears. The Packers are on the road, and they are a 1.5 point favorite, which is crazy to me. I would have thought this game would have been a pick 'em. I know it's the NFL playoffs. The odds makers in Vegas don't like to do that. I am going to go with the Packers just because, listen, I understand Caleb had a great season, and they are well coached, and coaching in the NFL is everything. But I think we're forgetting that there's a really good head coach in Green Bay and a really good quarterback in Green Bay who I believe is 100% healthy now. I think they took that week off last week to make sure that he was good. Some of his receivers are going to come back, obviously not their big tight end. But I'm not betting against the Packers in this one. The experience, the coaching. I think the Bears had a great year, and I like Caleb Williams, but I don't see them beating the Packers. And I know they're at home, but it's not like the Packers are traveling to Florida. This is their climate. This is the same thing they're used to. I'm here with the Packers. What do you got?
So I agree with you. I think the Packers are going to beat the Bears. And simply just because this is the first time Caleb has been here. This is the first time Ben Johnson has been here. Now, look, Chicago is going to be rowdy. That place is going to be rocking. It's going to be – the atmosphere is going to be electric. However, give me the team that is the better overall team as far as skill goes. Give me the more proven, better quarterback, in my opinion. Give me the more proven, better coach at this time. At least.
Running back. Running back's better in Green Bay too. Yeah,
I just think the Packers are the better team. And look, I think the Bears will be a problem moving forward.
100%.
I think the Bears are happy to be here, and I think the Packers have something to prove. So I'm going Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds crazy because you sit back and you look at things and, you said the Bears are happy to be here. And at the end of the day, they won the division. Like they won the division. But I mean, this was a division, in my opinion. I had the Packers when they got Micah Parsons going to the Super Bowl because I just believed that that's what was going to happen. And now Mike is not here. He's hurt. They bring in Diggs. Obviously not Stephon because that would be nuts. But they get Diggs. And I like the Packers. I'm sorry, Bears fans. You had a really good season. And would it shock me if you won? No. And to Steven's point, that atmosphere is going to be nuts in Chicago. But I don't see the Packers losing this one. We'll have to wait and see. Let's move over to the AFC. I want to talk about the Chargers and the Patriots. I think this is another game where, unfortunately, we're going to see a 10, 14-point differential in points. And I got the Patriots. I know they're home. I know the Chargers are led by a very good quarterback and a very good head coach, another Harbaugh. But I can't see the Patriots, their defensive line going against this Chargers offensive line. I think it's a match made in hell for the Chargers. I think the Patriots win by 10-14.
Yeah, I mean, look, Foxborough. I think Vrabel understands this spot. Not that Harbaugh doesn't, right? But you're the Patriots. You're at home. You're healthier. Your quarterback's red hot. You might have the better overall team. And look, Vrabel's no slouch of a coach, just because I think Harbaugh might be a better coach. But yeah, Chargers too banged up. I think Justin Herbert's going to do the turnover thing that he does in these big games. I think the story after this game is going to be, is Justin Herbert good enough? Whether that's fair to him or not, I don't know. But that'll be the story leaving this game if you are the Chargers. And if you are the Patriots, the story is going to be, why isn't Drake made the MVP? Why aren't we the Super Bowl favorites? We are clearly the best team in football. Like that will be, if you are them, why wouldn't you believe that?
They are a 3.5-point underdog coming into New England. So I think that says a lot, because I think it could be more. But to your point, if the Chargers get blown out, I think a lot of people, which they shouldn't, but a lot of the fan base is going to be very irrational, and they're going to say, fire the other Harbaugh. And I tell you that you'd be nuts to do that, because that's another head coach that would absolutely get picked up by any team right now in the NFL. Maybe besides one or two.
Yeah, I think teams would fire their head coach for Jim Harbaugh.
Just like the Miami Dolphins just did. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles. 4.5-point favorites are the Philadelphia Eagles. The game is in Philadelphia. I like the Eagles in this game. San Francisco, I think, really put on a show. Their past, 5, 6, 7 games, they are very well coached. Got to shout out Robert Saleh. I know he didn't fare well as the Jets head coach. Maybe it was a mixed bag of different things, but Robert has shown that he is not only a great defensive coordinator, but he could still lead men. Offensive side of the ball, obviously, not his game. And that's why you have one of the best head coaches on the offensive side of the ball to do so in the 49ers head coach. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. It's tough for me to bet against Jalen and Sirianni and them being at home. That's a tough place to play. I think this is a close game. I think this is a 1 to 3 point game. 100%. I think Vegas might have overshot this one on 4.5. And I think that line might move to 3.5 as we get closer, but I like the Eagles, but I think this is a, let's just say it's a, 17 to, 19 game, and you get it's something like that. It's going to be a 1-point game, in my opinion.
Man, are there two teams that you equally believe could both make a run to the Super Bowl and that you trust the least more than these two teams? They are very Jekyll and Hyde. I
don't trust Brock Purdy right now. I don't.
But can you trust Jalen Hurts right now?
I mean, body of work right now heading into the playoffs, no.
Exactly. And that's so my point is that both of these teams should be Super Bowl favorites. However, both of these teams have been so up and down all season that honestly, this game's hard to pick, not because of the matchups, but because you don't know what version of each team you're going to get, right? So am I going to get the explosive Kyle Shanahan offense that you can't stop CMC and those wide receivers are running wide open and the defense does enough and gets enough interceptions? Or are we going to get the Eagles team that defenses you can't run through and Jalen Hurts is going to have 4 or 5 touchdowns?
Yeah, and for me, it's like you said, who do you trust? I don't trust either of them. I trust Hurts more than I trust Brock Purdy right now. And that's just it. I do.
I get that. So
head coaching wise, I'm flipped. I'm going to take Niners over Sirianni.
So that's the thing. I lean Shanahan over Sirianni here. And I'm going to go the 49ers over the Eagles in Philly's house. I think the Niners have had to play the tougher schedule, having to play the Rams and the Seahawks, 4 times this year. I think that the Niners, again, I think they have the coaching edge. I like Kyle Shanahan more than I like Nick Sirianni. I think the Eagles have some problems, man. I've watched them through November and December just not look like a team that can put it together. So for that, give me the Niners in Philly creating chaos in this NFL playoff.
Well, credit where credit's due. I want to credit the over 300 of you who just started to come in here throughout this stream. We did this on a whim, and I appreciate the love and support. And it's not even a wrestling stream, crazy enough. Seems like we do all right. I want to talk about the game that was the toughest for me to pick, and that's why I saved it for last. And that's the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Me and you had an at-length conversation about this on the phone, which kind of really sparked this whole, hey, you want to do this on the internet? And I was like, sure. It was vice versa. But anyways, the Bills and the Jags, Buffalo going into Jacksonville, so much to play for, right? Because Buffalo, realistically, I think it'd be really tough for them to host a game. I just don't think it's going to happen in the playoffs. We'd have to have some crazy things happen where the Jags would have to lose. I believe the Steelers would have to lose, which is very possible. But then you got to get through Houston, all this other. There's a possibility if you get into, is there?
They could only host in the conference championship.
Yeah, right. So there you go. But again, get that one last game at their stadium, which, a lot of people would love, especially in Buffalo. This is a tough one for me, though. I think Buffalo has a lot to prove. There is no Patrick Mahomes. There is really nothing stopping them besides a really good Denver defense. And I would say Drake May. That's about it for me on the AFC side. I mean, truthfully, we're going to talk about Pittsburgh and Houston, but I think that's a blowout, and I'll explain why. But Jacksonville and Buffalo on Sunday, it's the early game. Noon my time, 1 your time for the Eastern Coast fans. This was tough. I'm going to go Buffalo because I think Josh Allen and Sean McDermott have so much to lose if they do lose this game. But I do believe that this is going to be a very close game. It was tough to pick against Jacksonville. I really like what Liam Cohen has done here in Jacksonville. I like the way he's transformed Trevor Lawrence. And I know some people like transform. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was not good 2 years ago. Last year, not great. This year, I think he's been very, very good. And I think that's all to do with head coaching and fitting schemes around this quarterback. And I think Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen and the Jacksonville Jaguars have a real chance of beating Buffalo. If you asked me this 365 days ago, if Jacksonville was in Buffalo, and I'd say there's no chance, none, but that's what a year does. So I'm going to go with Buffalo. I think the 1.5 spread is very accurate. I think this is a very, very, very close game. Would it shock me to see Jacksonville win? No, but I got to go with Buffalo because I think Josh Allen sees that there is a clear path to the Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. And this game is really I think it's one of the toughest games he's going to play, and the Buffalo Bills are going to play in this playoffs, no matter who they get next. Steven?
Yeah, man, I agree with you from the standpoint of if you were to list out all the AFC quarterbacks, clearly Trevor Lawrence would probably be number 2, right? Now, look, only because we don't have enough Drake May, we don't have enough Bo Nix, we don't have enough C.J. Stroud to say differently, right? I guess Aaron, do you have 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers above Trevor Lawrence? Maybe, but probably not. So if you're the Bills, you're looking at this as, holy shit, this is my path. This has never been clearer. This has never been easier. We can't. This is our year. Here's the thing. With expectation comes a lot of pressure. Sean McDermott and Josh Allen are going to have to absolutely deliver under all this pressure in Tony Khan's house.
Let's talk about this for a quick second too, because we talk about coaching and everything else like that. I've been on teams that shouldn't have won. And when you buy in and you come together as a team and you believe in what the coaches are telling you and executing and putting into place and you win, you buy in completely into the system and you buy into your teammates, and you would literally lose a limb for your teammate and all that other stuff, all those examples. And I do believe this Jacksonville Jaguar team has that about them. I believe they are fully bought in. And you, coach, you know this. If you could get your players to buy into the system, you could beat anybody. And I do believe that this Jacksonville Jaguar team really does believe in Liam Cohen, and they've bought into the system. I believe the Buffalo Bills believe in Josh Allen.
Yes.
I don't know how much Sean McDermott has in that locker room. I really don't.
Well, so that's it. I mean, if the Bills were to lose, all of a sudden we could be talking about another Black Monday where the Bills' job is all of a sudden available and everything gets turned on its head because all of a sudden you have the opportunity to coach arguably the best player in football. at least the best talent in football. If you want to say Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football, I'm going to go the Bills winning simply because they've been there before, simply because I think Josh Allen's the best player on the field. I will say this. If Josh Allen turns the ball over twice in this game,
Oh, it's over.
you're going to see Tony Khan running all over that field with Liam Cohen, holding up the AEW championship as if he's going to be doing the Young Bucks pose with Liam Cohen as Liam goes Duval again.
I mean, they'll definitely do their post game ones, or they'll get their photo together. But Tony's not going to be on the field.
He's going to be running around there like it's the Ultimate Warrior in the early '90s, man.
Yeah, I just don't see it. But I mean, listen, I could see Jacksonville getting the win. I could see the Tony Khan post game picture with Liam, his dad, and whomever else they put in there. Sure. But we'll have to wait and see.
But we're both going Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. Monday night, Houston and Pittsburgh. I think the dream. I think there's a lot of people my age want to see Aaron Rodgers continue, and I get that. It's our, the last kind of gunslinger from our childhood. And it really wasn't my childhood because when Aaron Rodgers came into the league, I was in college. But it's kind of like that, gone. And there's really nobody left. I mean, Phillip Rivers came back. That was kind of childhood-ish for me, but not even then. I think this ends. I really do. I think it ends. I think Houston's too good. I think Pittsburgh barely got by. Obviously, the missed field goal, but Aaron Rodgers, don't get me wrong, he made a great throw, and I have a lot of respect for Raji. I do. I'm a Roger believer. I like what he brings to a team in terms of ability. I think that there's a lot that goes on that would drive me nuts as a teammate when he's sitting there, pointing and being like this and cursing, and it's never like, hey, my bad on that throw. But I'm not in the locker room. I'm going to move on from that. I think this is it. I don't think Mike Tomlin's getting fired at all. I think he stays even if they lose, but I think they'll bring this back. They're going to bring back Rodgers and Tomlin one more year. They'll draft a quarterback and they'll try and mold him just like Favre molded Rodgers and Rodgers molded Love. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm sorry. I don't think Rodgers played well on Sunday night. And I think this Houston Texans defense, which is coached by a very good defensive coach, is going to be eliminated quick. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I think this is more than a 3-point spread. I think the Texans win by 10. Steven?
Ooh, I don't have the Texans winning by 10. However, are you telling me it's easy to go into Pittsburgh on a Monday night? Have you seen Tomlin's record? We need to invest into graphs. That's what we need to invest in.
What is Tomlin's record on Monday night? Is it very good?
It is like 20-2 all time.
Well, I'm going to tell you, his record in the first round of the playoffs these past couple of years is not good.
And at home, I think he's like 10-0.
All right.
If there's somebody out there listening that has access to this, it's very good.
Streaks are meant to be broken. I was there for one of them. Go ahead.
We can do the Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar face here, but
sure.
I don't think Pittsburgh has enough. Defensively, I don't think they have enough. Offensively, I think they keep it close, and I think it's a fourth quarter game, and I think Houston just pulls away. Houston wins. Houston advances.
I love what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table, but at times I just think that it's too much. At his age right now, it's too much. They also, DK being back maybe will change the perception of things and it'll change the game. That's obvious.
Sure.
Because he's a game changer. But I just think if it was any other team, truthfully, if they were going against the Chargers, I'm taking the Steelers. If they're going against, I don't think I'm taking them against the Pats. I don't think I'm taking them against the Jags, and I'm not taking them against the Bills. The Chargers, I think, is the best matchup for the Steelers. And again, listen, I'd love to see Rodgers get through one more round and have another date and see what happens. And maybe he can go on this miraculous run. I just don't see it. I think Houston's defense, I think CJ is going to be the Steelers defense. Don't get me wrong, looked good against Lamar, but Lamar Jackson right now, in terms of his ability, in terms of getting out of the pocket and extending plays and really running versus CJ Stroud, who's healthy, I'm going to go with CJ. I really am. I think Watt, I think all those guys are going to have problems. We'll have to wait and see. That's why they play the game. I'm taking Houston.
I completely agree with you, man. I don't think Pittsburgh has enough horses in the race. I think DK is going to have some big moments. And again, I think he keeps them in there. I do. I think he keeps them in this game until the fourth quarter. And I don't believe there's enough there to get them across the finish line. So give me Houston. And look, CJ Stroud, man, he's quietly putting together a pretty good little quarterback resume for a young guy.
Again, both teams are very well coached. It's just I'm going to take the talent on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball with the Houston Texans to defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's it for the games.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It starts today. It ends Monday. That's a great slate. We got a lot of things going on here in terms of my kids and games and everything else like that. The Islanders are in town in Minnesota on Saturday. My son's got a basketball tournament on Sunday. But it'll be done before kickoff, thank God. But Steven, you want to talk some wrestling? I got about 4 minutes. Is there anything you want to talk about before I gotta get out of here?
I don't know. Pitch topic out there, man.
Chris Jericho.
Well,
I said this, and people took it as he was showing up in Brooklyn, which I never said. I said I think it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said Chris Jericho, I believe, is signed to WWE. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think it's done. That's one thing I will say 100%. I think Chris Jericho has signed with WWE. Maybe he hasn't put pen to paper, quote unquote. He'll probably do that at the arena, maybe like a la CM Punk. But I'm telling you right now, they have an agreement. I think Jericho his return to WWE is imminent. I said that I think there's a good chance, and I think it's highly possible that he might show up at the debut episode of TNA on AMC. Makes a lot of sense for Chris. Chris was kind of the catalyst and the first major defector, if you want to call it that, or the big gun for AEW to get and got their TV deal and was their first world champion. I'm not saying Chris is going to be a mainstay on TNA, but I think it's something that he would like to check off his bucket list. What say you? What do you think about Chris Jericho, WWE, TNA? What do you got?
I definitely think he's with WWE, or he has agreed to a deal in principle with the WWE. How about that? I think that's how Schefter put it. Mr. Imminent. Or so you're going back to the word. You're bringing the word. Have you dropped the word, or is this the gimmick for you now? You are Mr. Imminent.
No, I'm not dropping the word. It's funny. I see people use it now, and I'm like, you guys owe me a royalty fee. It's sometimes I'll use words, and I think I've told you this on my shows or on my tweets, and then all of a sudden I see wrestling podcasters use the same word, and I'm like, boys, you could just, hey, it's all right. Just say I heard it from this guy. Some of them probably don't even know what the word means. You know, they just, it's a big word. I'm going to use it. Go ahead.
So I definitely think he is with WWE. I definitely could see him showing up to help TNA that first big moment on their new network. But I mean, honestly, we're getting to some kind of WrestleMania run here, right? And
Sure.
we're going to do it. We're going to do a year run from Mania to Mania, and that's probably going to be the end of Chris Jericho.
I mean, the Rumble's obvious, right? I mean, I don't think you'd be able to hide Chris Jericho at that point. So I think if you're going to have Jericho in the Rumble, and again, I don't know if that's the case or not. The one thing I will stamp my name on, if you want to do that, we saw the world explode. I would say the IWC explode with something that I put out a couple week ago or whatever. I'm going to put my name on this. Jericho's back in WWE. That I will put my name on.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how you hide him though from Saudi.
I don't. Well, and I think that's why the Barclays Center made so much sense, right? It's the big Netflix night, the big Stranger Things crossover at the Barclays. You're not going to be able to hide him for Rumble. So I think most of us just assumed, it's a very logical big spot for him to come back in. So yeah, it just makes sense. And in this business, what a lot of people don't realize, your favorite reporter's favorite reporter, there's dot connecting and logic used all the time. It's not just like, hey, this person is showing up at this time in this arena. They will do exactly this thing. That's not the way it works, man.
And it's funny, I watched people be like, how the hell would you have this type of information and all this other stuff? And it's like, I just want to let you guys and girls know, like, I don't sit here and talk. I don't have a direct line to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Okay. Some people who used to work in that industry should, but they probably won't ask Dwayne that question. And I understand why, But if you claim that there's no validity in anything that I stated about that topic, then why don't you hit up your boy or hit up somebody who knows him or anything else like that? Because I could tell you that the news didn't come directly from The Rock, but the news came from somebody who would know and who's somebody in WWE. And it's just like, I saw people talking about, oh, Rock's going to wrestle. There's a rumor Rock's going to wrestle at WrestleMania 42 in Vegas. And I was like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not. He can't. I said the only thing that's been discussed currently is a big match in Saudi with a lot of money attached to it. Go ahead.
If he wants to cash the Saudi prince's money, those checks for an extra appearance fee, absolutely. But there's
more than one check.
way
he's on the board.
Well, that's it. But I'm just saying, like, if the Saudi prince is willing to throw some extra clams his way for him to be on the show, yes, that would work. I don't see him wrestling at a quote unquote regular WrestleMania for the foreseeable future. I just don't see it.
Not to mention, I mean, and again, I could see what I was told is that there's hesitation on his side, his camp, whatever, that he doesn't want to have his last match in Saudi. I'm sure he wants his family there, all this other stuff. And I know The Rock could afford to fly half the state of Florida to Saudi for his retirement match, but maybe he doesn't want his mom to have to travel there. I don't know, but I know there's hesitation. And when that comes to fruition, I'll be here. I also know that the Saudi prince has asked and has talked about, and not just him, it's other people, to have another major star wrestle at WrestleMania.
What?
Yeah, right. We'll have to wait and see.
What?
Right. But people will say that I wouldn't know. I can't know and all this other stuff. Listen, guys and girls, just have fun. I'm not here to tell you how to think, how to feel, how to believe, what to like, what not to like. Just have fun. If I see something I don't like, I'm going to say this was rotten. This sucked.
I can tell you this, after being in and around this space for the last 15 years, it does not work the way the consumers believe it all works.
Right.
It is much different. I will tell you, your favorite reporter's favorite reporter definitely has connections. They definitely talk to people within the industry, but it does not come out the way, again, there's no date, time stamp, this, that. Like, you could talk to you could talk to a wrestler and be like, hey man, you might want to check this Thursday out. It could be a lot of fun.
Right.
And then what do you do with that? Well, you apply logic and reasoning to it. But there's just a little peek behind the curtain from two guys that have been in and around it for quite some time.
Just like people wanted to know why I said that I believe Randy and Cody would be big business at the Rumble, because I know that was a match that they discussed. If they go to another match, Sami Zayn versus Cody, a triple threat, whatever, that's something they decided upon. And some people will tell you that, this was the plan for months. And I can tell you that things change rapidly. You saw on SmackDown that Randy said, I'm coming, whether it's at WrestleMania, the Chamber, or the Royal Rumble. Randy is more than likely fixed into the title picture and is probably getting a title opportunity sooner rather than later. And I know that they want two big matches at the Royal Rumble that are not the Royal Rumble matches themselves. By logic, I was told Cody and Randy is a very high possibility of happening at the Rumble, and Punk's opponent, which I'm not going to state, opponents, is something that a lot of people will like. And I said, cool. And that information will remain until you get it live on television, because I don't do that.
Yeah.
What I will say is that, again, it's smart. You keep Randy out of the Rumble, he can't lose it.
Yep.
It just kind of makes sense. So when somebody says that to me who would know, I'm like, all right, makes a lot of sense. Steven, where can everyone like, subscribe, and follow you? I know that you still do, some things here or there. What do you got?
I'm kind of off the grid these days, man. So just when I do stuff with you, but if you want to follow me at @view_raw, these days I just kind of put whatever's in my head out there. And I don't really do this for a thing anymore. I just kind of do it for fun whenever you ask me to jump onto something, man. I appreciate you and your content. I think you do a great job. I think
the producers, @view_raw right there, right under Steven's dome. So he can, you can follow him.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and maybe you should do it again.
Always. I would love to do it again. I'm at Andrew Badal, Final Bell Media. Follow them, like, subscribe, hit the notifications so that when we go live, you will know. I might be live later on today talking what we normally talk about, which is professional wrestling. Let's see if it fits into the schedule. Busy week here in the world of ticketing, professional wrestling and sports and entertainment. Again, Chris Jericho, TNA. Well, maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. Make sure you follow Steven. Make sure you follow Final Bell Media and myself, and we will catch you guys down the road. Steven, this was fun. Let's do this again sometime.
Absolutely, man. Later.
All right, guys. Take care.